The answer between Valdis and me. The first part of your first question, I think it is an important step forward that we have integrated in this loan the same principles like in SAFE, that we say, first of all and first and foremost, if possible, the procurement should take place in Ukraine, in the European Union and in the EEA EFTA countries. Because for us, it is a lot of money. These are billions and billions that are being invested, and these investments should have a return on investment in creating jobs, in creating research and development that is necessary for us. We have in parallel to boost our defense industrial base for the sake of not only the loan, but also for our own security. So there's a strong interest to give a strong incentive, first and foremost, to procure in the described region. But of course, Ukraine is at war with Russia and needs support timely. So if the capability is not available in the European Union or in the EEA, EFTA countries or in Ukraine, and not in due time, then it is possible to go outside of this region. And I think this is a very successful change that we have now introduced in the procurement rules.
Commissioner, maybe on the second question, but we can go into details in the technical background.
On a second question, so indeed our proposal also foresees interest loan subsidy for Ukraine, and this interest loan subsidy for Ukraine will be covered by the contributions to the EU budget of the participating 24 EU member states as regards this financing period, and indeed in the context of next MFF a dedicated instrument to cover interest rates can be considered, but that will be part of the discussions concerning the next MFF.
Thank you. And we take a question from an Ukrainian media, Vitaly.
Thank you, Vitaly Sizov, Freedom TV channel. My question, I think, for Commissioner Dombrovskis. Ukraine said that they need this money already in April at the start of the second quarter. How do you expect to finalize all this process quickly to ensure that this is possible to send first money in April, balancing conditionality all? Thank you.
Indeed, we are aware of Ukraine's both sizable and urgent financing needs. That's why we are aiming indeed to start disbursing in April. On one hand, we'll be engaging with EU co-legislators to ensure the swift legislative process, hopefully to be concluded by early March, which then would allow disbursements in April. And also in parallel we'll be working with Ukrainian authority on preparation of financial strategy for this year, so that all the necessary documents and steps can be taken in due time. And I would say also in previous years we had been working under very tight timelines with Ukrainian authorities and had been able to deliver. And in parallel, we are also working with other international partners which are providing financial support to Ukraine with the aim for them to front-load their financial contributions to the first quarter of this year, so that to cover this funding gap which Ukraine is facing already in a first quarter. And I would say this also work is advancing quite successfully.
Thank you. And Thomas, please.
Hello, thank you very much. Thomas Mann-Nilsson at Euractiv. I have two questions. So one for Commissioner Dombrovskis. Could you just give us a bit more detail about the state of play of G7 support for Ukraine? Because obviously the Commission has estimated that Ukraine needs 135 billion over the next 2 years. So how confident are you that this additional 45 billion will be covered by G7 partners? And then another question for President von der Leyen about a slightly different topic about Greenland. we've heard recently that Defence Commissioner Kubilius has said that Article 42.7 would apply this mutual assistance clause. Greenland obviously is not part of the EU, but there are tens of thousands of European citizens, EU citizens living in Greenland. So in your view, would member states have an obligation to intervene to support Greenland, including providing military support to Greenland, if the United States were to make military moves on Greenland? Thank you very much.
Let's do the following. We're focusing on the topic of the press conference, and if we have time, we come back to your question at the very end. But we start.
Thank you for this question. Indeed, from the EU side, we are, I would say, taking care of the bulk of the financing needs for Ukraine for the next 2 years, but we also expect other international partners to play their part. That's why we continue this engagement with the G7 and other partners. So first of all, next year, the delivery of ERA loans initiative will continue, and we expect some 9.7 billion euros to be dispersed through the ERA loans initiative next year by other partners, because from the EU side we fully disbursed our contribution already last year. We are working not only with G7 partners but also with other countries. For example, Norway is committed to come with a sizable financial contribution. Also, EU member states will continue to provide both financial and in-kind military support, and obviously also international financial institutions. Currently, International Monetary Fund is preparing its next program of the size of $8.1 billion. Actually, on Monday, I had a meeting with IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva to discuss exactly those topics, and this work appears to be broadly on track, because also for IMF, one of the conditions for IMF program to go forward is that the financing gap of Ukraine is being covered.
So there are many speculations out there about what should be done, what could be done, what may be done. I want to put all this aside and address the general principle of Greenland, that we look at what are the different debates. So first of all, Greenland belongs to its people. So it's up to Denmark and Greenland, and only to them, to decide on matters that are concerning Denmark and Greenland. That's point number one, and that's very important. We are in constant contact with the Danish government, also to listen to what the needs are, what the needs of the Greenlanders are, in very close contact. Second, Greenland is part of NATO. And when we are speaking about Arctic security, this is one of the core topics of NATO, and we know that the glue between the allies is the fact that there's always the clear motto, one for all for one. So NATO is one forum to integrate the different interests that are out there. But of course, the Arctic and Arctic security is also a matter for the European Union without any question. And we've invested since years in our relationship with Greenland. I was there last year, before all this happened, to open the office in Nuuk, so that we have a constant channel of communication with the Greenlanders. We have an investment program. We've stepped up our engagement since last year. We have accelerated our work. So there's a strong and good and existing relationship between the European Union and the Greenlanders. And for me, it's important that the Greenlanders know, and they know this by the deeds, not only by the words, that we respect the wishes of the Greenlanders and their interests, and that they can count on us.
Good. And we come back to the topic of the press conference. Yes, please.
Just one short follow-up on this topic, as we are still wondering, is Article 42.7 applicable to Greenland? I think it's quite important for Greenland to know.
The question that is applicable right now. It doesn't ask itself.
And the President was very clear in her response. Let me take one question online, because I know that many journalists are also already in Cyprus. Jorge Valero. Jorge, are you there? I see your hand. Now we need to see you on the screen. We see half of you on the screen.
Can you hear me well?
Now it's okay.
Yes?
Good. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Question for the President.
The sound is very bad, Jorge.
Can you hear me now? Sorry.
Now it's
Okay,
better. Now it's better, but we also need to see you.
Okay. I'm speaking close to the mobile. Sorry. So, a question for the President. First, as far as I've seen, we've seen in the draft documents, there is no date included to pay the principal that we will borrow in the markets, which is quite unprecedented if we compare, for example, with the next generation EU borrowing. So would you consider that this proposal is a significant step forward towards a fiscal union, a debt union? For Commissioner Dombrovskis, if you can just confirm that the proposal meets the necessary assurances requested by the IMF in order to approve the program. Thank you.
So in extraordinary situation, for example, Next Generation EU, we have already done the EU borrowing for a very specific purpose. We do it here for the support of Ukraine, a very clear political priority that we have. And the fact that we have an enhanced cooperation here shows that there's a vast majority of member states that support this common engagement in EU borrowing to then have the means to support Ukraine.
Yes, maybe to complement, well, first on this reparation loan we are now providing.